Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jarek Brian Show. My name is Jarek, and on today's show we have Board Candy City, and we have the Candyman and Voodoo on the show. Guys, how's it going?
Great, Jarek. Thank you for having us.
I'm honored. I kind of want to ask you the question, Mister, Candyman, with everything that's super impressive of what you guys got going on. You got the decks, you got the marketplace, you got the game, which I tried out, which was super smooth. But before we get into all that, what's kind of been your journey to Web3 and kind of you getting all the way here?
Sure. I actually work full time in the space since 2017 now. That's when I left my last corporate 9 to 5 job. I used to work in finance. I worked for many banks around the world, and that's how I ended up in Switzerland actually. And when I decided to just leave the corporate world and start my own crypto business, this is not the first one. I started with my partner. We started up a first company in the blockchain, doing data validation for more internet security, and that was a labeling solution we had that's still running up to today. That's like how we make most of our revenues today as a company. And we started another Socialify crypto project. It was kind of LinkedIn, but using a cryptocurrency where whenever you want people to look at your profile or you want to share your CV, you actually create an NFT and lend and borrow the NFT, and you receive tokens as a reward instead of recruiters paying the platform. That's also something we've been working on since 2018. It's not bringing that much revenue, but it's growing steadily. And we have multiple other avenues we've been throwing around. We launched one of the first Ethereum staking platforms back in the day. So yeah, I say we as a team because we're a team of 4 team members, all based in Switzerland. And then when we launched Board Candy City last year, we just grew to almost 12 people now around the world. And when we decided to launch Board Candy City, it was more of a fact of we noticed happening in DeFi all of these years we've been around. I personally hold Bitcoin since 2013, and I've been in the crypto space as an investor and a user for a long time. I lived through multiple bear markets, and what I've been noticing is when the DeFi craze just started, it was they were like, it had multiple beautiful promises. It was decentralized. Let's scrap the middleman and just do transactions with each other, even without centralized exchanges. We can just use our own liquidity to transfer, to transact, and we'll be the only ones earning the transaction fees. And that was something that spoke to us, but we, as crypto investors, lived through rugs and lived through hacks and lived through scams and everything we saw in the space. I think I personally lost a lot of money. I shouldn't talk about this because it seems like I don't know what I'm doing, but it happens to all of us in this space. That's
100%.
actually how we learn. So it was like I was worked in a project in Ethereum in 2018, and then I was scammed in a project in Avalanche just 3 years ago in 2020, and same thing happened in the early days of Binance Chain. So that it's an accumulation of problems we saw as blockchain engineers and business developers in this space, and we thought that we had the skills and the knowledge to fix them and to offer the community something that they really deserve. That's when we decided to create Board Candy City.
Yeah, that's great. And what you guys kind of got going on is like nothing short of amazing too as well. And so you're over here coming like on the Polygon, but what other chains are you on?
We started off in Chronos chain on November 2022. That's almost a year ago now. Why Chronos? For a simple reason, I personally was one of the Crow OGs. I invested in Crypto.com's ICO in 2016, and then I have been following them since then. Thanks to them and others, I made a lot of money, and especially when Chronos chain was launched, because I held a lot of Crow. And so that was a way for me to just give back to that company and to that community and to that chain. That's why we decided to start first by Chronos chain when we decided to launch this. So yeah, we've been live in Chronos chain since November 1st, 2022. And we started our expansion now that we have a complete suite of products to Polygon and to other chains in the coming months.
And you're on Chronos, and and that's great. And just kind of like, what made you come over here to Polygon? What made you want to come over here and try to build something on Polygon?
Well, we knew that we were going cross chain, and we needed to choose our first destination, and the choice was pretty simple. We looked at the numbers. Yes, Polygon is not the biggest chain. We could have chosen Ethereum or another, but we came here for one reason. It's because the gaming industry is big in Polygon, and we consider ourselves more of a game studio than a DeFi protocol, even if we're both. We already have working games right now that are only missing players. So, and we thought, yeah, if we're seeking players, gamers in the space, they are in Polygon. That's why.
Yeah, that's been kind of like the general consensus with kind of some of these gaming studios that everybody wants to build kind of on Polygon. So I just love the fact that you guys are doing kind of both, having a DEX and a game, but kind of go more like into like the game. And also too, you also have a mobile app. Like, is it in beta or is it already ready to go?
You're talking about the mobile game?
Yes.
Oh no, the mobile game is live and functioning. Mm-hmm. It's been live for a few months already. Its first version was approved by Apple just 1 month after we launched, so back in December of last year. Kept to it. We started only with the simple game where you play the different puzzles and you earn candy. Then we added betting mode. Then we added multiplayer, and then we added the ability to deposit and withdraw candy from the chain to the mobile app. We had some trouble, of course, with that because we first had some legal trouble with Apple, specifically because we use in-app purchases, of course, so people can either buy candy in the game using their credit cards or deposit it from the blockchain when they buy it on our DEX. And the difference is Apple gets 30% commission when people use their credit cards, and they don't want to lose on that. And it wasn't an easy thing. I think we had our game was actually put down, and we couldn't put it back up for more than 2 months. But we figured it out with our lawyers and the connections we made here, because we're a real company established here, registered in Switzerland, an LLC. And so we made it work, and we managed to get to Apple's requirements, and now we can do that. Then we had other security problems with the first iteration, because this has never been done before. Mobile apps are completely off-chain, so sending tokens from and mobile apps is not as easy as we think. So we tried multiple avenues. We first developed our own way of doing it, and we had some very, very minor hacks happening that we stopped immediately. And it was until we met with Altura, which is also a big project in Polygon, that we partnered up with Altura, that they're like Steam for crypto games. If you may. Yeah, they're great, and we are now using their solution to transfer tokens and back and forth from the blockchain safely. And yeah, so the game is full public. You can just look for it in the App Store or Google Play. You can play it right now. We have like two modes. You can see here. You can play adventure or multiplayer. So multiplayer is you can play um, a match like a Candy Crush puzzle live online against someone, either someone you know. There's a private multiplayer. You just create a room and send the link to someone to join you, or you can join the public multiplayer where you just matchmaking with everyone connected on the game, and you spend 25 candy tokens that you already deposited to the game. So you spend 25 candy tokens each. The winner goes away with 40, and the remaining 10 candy tokens are burnt. So that's a major breakthrough for us to just be able to have the game using the cryptocurrency. We for now it's using the Chronos chain candy token. It already has integration for the Polygon candy token. It's just a switch to flip when people choose to withdraw. They need to choose between the chains. We haven't made that available yet because we are still launching on Polygon. So as soon as candy is fully tradable on Polygon, we're gonna just turn that on.
Oh, sweet. So like candy is actually like a going to be like a tradable like token, um, kind of like something that you can kind of like buy off of like an exchange.
Yeah, so we're actually expanding to Polygon with our entire suite of products. So that means that we're expanding the DEX, the NFT marketplace, the mobile game, and of our other games, because we also have other games, and then we will expand from there because we have other products in mind that we couldn't unfortunately build in Chronos chain because of just technology lacking. For example, there is no subgraph in Chronos and stuff like that. So there are other things that we will develop specifically for Polygon once the chain is the DEX is live there.
Okay, that's great, man. And it was just yeah, I was kind of doing like a demo of the game, and it was very smooth, man. It was very smooth, and it was like it was fun. Like I really don't kind of play those type of games though, but it was just really I liked it, and I like and kind of got kind of addicted to it a little bit. But I was like, man, I got to get back to work in that sense. But like the whole candy vibe, like what was the kind of the inspiration behind that?
Um, yeah, uh, I would be considered a boomer of some sort. So these are games that we we as a generation started playing when we first got smartphones, and Candy Crush was one of the first. So there's some nostalgia there, but that's not it, because the idea is to make money, of course. And we just looked at mobile games that are still grossing huge revenues today, that are easy to make and to make better. And Candy Crush, like, people don't think it, but it has a huge user base today. Even like it exists since 2011, I think. So it's been around for more than 10 years, and last year they still had 120 million active users, and they made more than $2 billion in app purchases. Like, that's huge in just microtransactions, like people spending $1 or $2 to buy credits to keep playing and lives and stuff like that. So our idea is simple. It's just to, where there is a user base, there are people that are like still playing that game, but they're not in crypto. We just need those players to start playing the same game, but with earning mechanics. So what Candy Crush lacks is it doesn't have multiplayer. We added multiplayer. That's a fun way to do these games. Again, and I've like tried multiple games of the sort because there are, of course, many copies of Candy Crush. I still haven't never seen any of them offering multiplayer games. So that was a big leap forward for us. And then there are earning mechanics. Like most Web2 games, you can just like play and spend your money, but you earn nothing. In here, you can both play, have fun, play against your friends in multiplayer, and also earn candy. Like you have 3 different ways of earning candy that you can immediately just withdraw to your wallet and sell, and that's like real money.
That is super impressive, and I like the fact that you guys have already like done the the footwork and the groundwork on going through Apple, like going through all that, having to get all that out of the way because like a lot of these projects don't even have any of that taken care of. But you guys have already done all those things, and you've gotten like the license, and you've already had that battle already. So hats off to you guys on on that aspect. But I will ask you this: you did say more games. Like, can you kind of like give us a little bit more on what those games are, or you have to kind of hold on to that?
Oh no, no, not at all. We actually started because we knew that the Apple journey was gonna be a tough one. Uh, we because at the same time, if you remember, like end of year last year, when we were launching, that was around the time when Apple just published an article saying that they would never accept NFTs or crypto in their app store. So we knew from the start that this was going to be hard, and we had like zero assurances how long it was going to take and if it was actually going to happen. So what we did there is we created Web3 games, like just web-based games that don't have to go through Apple and Google to be approved, just in case we don't get our game approved or while we wait for our game to be approved. So we created 2 games actually. The first one is the same style of games, not the exact same one, but it's similar. It's called Candy Flow. You can find it in our website. It's completely on-chain, this one, so you connect your wallet, you deposit candy, and then you play. And the earning mechanic is very simple. You have puzzles with increasing difficulty, and the every puzzle has a winning coefficient. So like puzzle number 1 get you times 1.5, for example, your initial bet, and like puzzle 50 would get you times 5 your initial bet. So if you bet 10 candy, like you spend 10 candy from your wallet to do that puzzle, if you finish it, you get 500 candy. That's just an example. And if you don't finish it, you just lose the 10 candy you initially bet. So it's a betting against the UI. That was the first game, and it was live the exact same first day we launched the Dex, because we wanted to come with the utility from day one. We didn't want to like just launch the token and then promise people, yeah, we're gonna do the game in Q3 or Q4. No, we had it all from the start. So that game was ready from day one, and the mobile game was already in review by Apple, and we were waiting on their decision. And the second game is one we made later. I think it was 2 months later. For the same reasons, it was around the time when Apple took down our game because of the token issue. When we added the deposit and withdraw feature, that's when they took it down. And we decided to make another game, and this time looking for multiplayer, because our first game was not multiplayer, was just a single player game. And this one was actually a pool game. Like those pool games you can play online on some websites. Well, it's the same thing, but in this one you can use candy token, it's the same thing, but you don't bet against UI, you bet against other users. So you play a live multiplayer pool game against another user. You both bet the same amount of candy, and the winner goes away with 80%, and the rest is burnt. Same thing. Yeah, so these are the only 3 games that are currently live, and we are of course working on building two more mobile games are already being worked on. One is almost ready and being tested. The other one is being reviewed by our app team, but it should be ready anytime soon, anytime now. And yeah, we're planning on releasing at least another 3 or 4 games before the end of the year.
Yeah, that's great. I love projects that are like kind of building through this bear. And you stated that you were been in crypto for quite a while, right? one, is this kind of like the worst bear market that you've been through? And then two, how has this bear market treated you? Like, what are some of the challenges that you guys had to kind of overcome, kind of like during this kind of market?
Yeah, that's a great question. First, I don't think this is the worst one. We always feel that this is the worst one because we're the one we're living through. But just if you look at the numbers, I still remember, I think it was February 2018 when I remember because it was around my wife's birthday, and I was like, am I really gonna buy a gift because Bitcoin is at $3,000? I used to already hold some Bitcoin, so yeah, that was, I think that was worst. But yeah, it always feels like this is the worst one because it feels too long and it feels that it's never gonna end. And maybe this one is exaggerated by the macroeconomic situation. We sometimes, we always think that Bitcoin should follow the cycle, like always bull then bear then bull then bear. But sometimes we might ask, Bill, well, what if the bull cycle comes but the economic situation is not any better? Would like Bitcoin just magically go up? Nobody knows. Like we'll see next year. So in that sense, yeah, maybe it's one of the worst ones because there's a lot of other things happening around us that were not happening in previous bear markets. And how is it challenging for us? Well, it's challenging for all projects, like these days, especially in Chronos chain, but I guess these things happen in all chains. We hear of projects abandoning like almost every day. And I feel for them because it's something we live ourselves. I know exactly, I don't need to be in those projects to know what they're going through because we're going through it ourselves, even if our situation is slightly different. I'll explain why. But what happens is you launch your crypto project, you raised some funds, and you're going to use those funds to keep building. That's how usually most projects do because they don't have their own funds to start with. And you just hope that the next bull cycle will come before your funds run out. And what happens is that usually like the bear market lasts longer than you expected, and your projections your revenue projections were completely wrong. So you're spending more money than like faster than you expected. The bull cycle is not coming anytime soon, and you're not making as much revenue as you expected. You find yourself in a situation where, especially like projects who have to pay everyone, so you have no money to pay developers, you have no money to do marketing, you can't keep building, you can't keep promoting, and like that's the death of you. You can't just stay still. That's like how the bear market kills you. It just bleeds you out of your money slowly, and it's like a game of chickens. Like hey, who's gonna last longer, the bear market or your treasury funds? And usually the bear market wins because who has enough money to last 4 years? So yeah, that's what's hard. It's happening, of course, to us as well. We had to do some like cost killing, if you might, but in the areas where we're comfortable doing it. So we cut down costs on moderation, for example, and the team, instead of paying moderators for Discord and Telegram, we just do it ourselves. I myself do it. I take time, a few hours from my days, to deal with tickets in Discord and stuff like that. We try to cut costs to the maximum for the technical maintenance services. So for the servers, the RPC node, the different database servers and database services, and others, NFT hosting, and all of that cost money. Those are usually subscriptions that you pay every month, and you have. So we try to get that as low as possible, but it's especially by optimizing our services to the maximum. So it's usually the cost is usually too high because you have too much perdition on your different online services. And the main difference between us and the crypto projects I was describing earlier is that we have other revenues. That's very important. That's something I tell even like people who just want to launch a crypto project on by themselves. If you have a 9 to 5 and you're a developer and you think that you can make it in crypto, that's great. You should try it, but don't quit your job before doing it. You're not gonna make enough revenue to sustain yourself or your family if you have a family, and at the same time grow the project. Like in the first 2 to 3 years, all the money you're gonna make, all the revenue is gonna go back to building the project and to marketing. That's the only way, unless you want to wreck people. That's another story. But if you want to be legit, as long as you have another source of revenue, keep it. Just keep it and work at night and do whatever you have to do to keep yourself safe from the cycles of the market. And as I said in the beginning of the call, we have like I run multiple blockchain companies, so we do have our other products like that are bringing us revenue, stable revenue, and they have been for a couple of years now. So that's what's keeping us alive. So we don't need Board Candy City to make revenue, to pay our developers and to pay our team, because like our core team, at least the core team is like they're salaried employees of the Board Candy LLC company. So they will be working whether Board Candy is making revenue or not, and that helps us keep building. I'm not saying that this makes us like untouchable by the bear market. Of course, it's hard. So as I said, we're lowering down on everything else that we can lower down. Of course, even marketing costs, we're lowering them down because we know that it's a bear market and there's no point of spending if you're not getting the returns you expect. And it's all about financial health and trying to last as long as possible until we hit that bull market.
And you know, I think that's the kind of the key right there, in a sense that, you know, the projects that still are like kind of that business kind of background, right? And I think we've seen a lot of projects kind of fall by the wayside now that didn't know how to kind of like manage their funds, or didn't really have any kind of like other streams of revenue or any kind of like Web2 kind of connection in that aspect. So I love the fact that you guys, you know, are you know, have that kind of all planned out, and you guys kind of had a plan to kind of tackle this bear market. So it speaks volumes for you guys and the team. Now I kind of want to go back to the whole, you know, like mobile games and video games and gaming and Web3 in general. Like, how do you think that we can get people to kind of like get used to using like a crypto wallet, like say like in game and everything like that? Like, what do you think is going to be like the key to making that kind of happen?
So, yeah, this is an old subject, one of my favorite actually. We talk about it usually in crypto conferences. Yeah, the adoption, like the mass adoption that every crypto enthusiast out there would love to see, is never gonna happen as long as it's the way it is today. Yes, it's getting easier with like the paystring wallets and the domain name wallets you can purchase and add to your wallet. That's not all. There's like a whole bunch of other things that are still complicated to any normie out there, like the seed phrases and the fact that you can just lose your funds at any given time, and the different scams and all. So I think everyone should do their part, and we try to do our part as much as possible. But it goes first through education, and what you're doing here is actually great. Like you and all the others like you are doing a huge part, and we never thank you enough. But you guys are what making this space what it is, because you educate people and help them like navigate through it safely, avoid the scams, and use the necessary security and stuff like that. So that's like the basis of it all. Just educate people. The rest is unfortunately not going to change anytime soon, because that's like the base of the product. The blockchain is the way it is. If we change it too much, it's not the blockchain anymore. Like if we all have an email and password login to get to their funds, it's not the blockchain. And I don't think I know that many of us don't want that. So I think we just need to find a middle ground between um, uh, like the blockchain fundamentals and the security of it all, but also the mainstream tech user that would never know how to do that. And if I take the example of our mobile game, and this is like a real problem we're facing today, because as I said, we're trying to recruit those Candy Crush users, and those are like, well, we know from the statistics, are mainly moms of around 40 years old that know nothing about crypto. So even if like they open the game and they see that, hey, you can earn money, or like can earn crypto through this app, the process for them is like too complicated. Like, go to MetaMask, open a wallet. What's that? How do I keep it safe? And so we're trying our best to make it the easiest possible. Like, for example, we partnered up with Transact, which is a company that does on-ramp and off-ramping from crypto. So for example, for people who don't have like crypto accounts like Binance, Crypto.com, and the others, they can use this service to just get their money in crypto and out of crypto easily, just with a couple clicks. So this makes it a little bit easier than most, but yeah, it's still not. We're still not there yet.
Yeah. It's just, I would just, we have like that kind of like problem right here. How to get people kind of like how to get grandma to kind of use a crypto wallet. It's kind of been like kind of the obstacle, and it's gonna be kind of very interesting on how we eventually get to that point. But also too, speaking of Web3 gaming, right? Whether it be Web3 gaming, like kind of on a PC, or Web3 gaming in mobile, right? Like how do you, like, when do you see like Web3 gaming being kind of like mentioned in the same kind of like league as maybe as the Candy Crush, or like let's say we get a Web3 game on like for instance like Victory Point, and when are you, and they're going to be on the same kind of like breath as like kind of like a Call of Duty or Xbox, like when do you think we'll see something similar to that?
Yeah, I think that those two worlds are not very far apart, but
Mhm.
but they are at the same time, because like when you look at the numbers, they're like around almost. I think we were above 1 billion gamers in the world today, and it's especially mobile gamers, because everyone has a mobile phone in the world, but not everyone has access to a computer or to gaming console. But like, let's take that 1 billion gamers, and we know that even if we think we're too many, we're not. There's around 200 million people who know how to use crypto today. If we like just do a very like bad thing, it's okay. It's just suppose that those 200 million are already part of the billion, so they are all gamers, and that's what we're seeing today in the space. That's why many of us are making games, because we are gamers. We're going at it from a crypto enthusiast side. I think the day that you're talking about will not happen unless we see big game producers go into the crypto side. Like, it should be the other way around. So we are closing the gap towards the gaming industry, but the gaming industry is not doing the same thing. And of course, they have more the means to do so. So it's not very far from now, because I think some of them are already experimenting with NFTs today, and we know that for sure. So it shouldn't be anytime soon now. We should see like a big game production using NFTs or tokens in their game, and that would just like explode the entire industry.
I 100% agree, and I hope like that praying that I'm around like for all that too, because I think that's just going to be a very like wild kind of like time. And with that, like on kind of like on the like developer side and also community side too as well. You came here to Polygon, right? Like how has it been on the development side, like kind of working with Polygon, and also too, I also see Voodoo in a whole bunch. I don't know if he's still here or anything like that, but Voodoo's in a ton of spaces too as well. Oh yeah, oh Voodoo, you're back. Let me add you here. There you go. So how has it been on that? How has Polygon been working with Polygon and the community? How has it been? Have you gotten like that warm welcome? Have any kind of like kind of obstacles or anything like that, or has everything been pretty smooth?
Well, I'll start off with the community. It's definitely been a warm welcome, and that's from the top down, from the actual people running the blockchain, like getting into DMs and community chats with other developers and the management team and the CEOs of Polygon has been relatively easy. I found that process really easy to get into, which said a lot about Polygon as a product for me personally. I'm still adjusting to Telegram because we come from Chronos and I was on ETH before that and other blockchains, and I'm very Discord oriented, so having to shift my focus to Telegram has been a challenge to say the least. But the process in itself and the individuals involved in that process have made it very easy and welcoming. So in that part, I think our biggest issue as a company with Polygon has been just adjusting to the current Polygon market. Polygon is very NFT centric. Compared to where we are on Chronos, which is very DeFi centric. Like everyone's involved in creating LPs, whereas on Polygon, we're literally having to teach people what an LP is exactly, and how to create one, and how to use one, and how to create revenue from participating in DeFi protocols. So that was probably the biggest adjustment, and it took us a while to recognize that. But now we're pivoting, right? So we're focusing. We have a space every Wednesday with one of our community members that focuses specifically on educating mostly the Polygon space about DeFi and using DeFi protocols. We've also started to produce products and bring utility directly to Polygon projects rather than trying to incentivize the Polygon community in investing into our projects. So we've built a Discord bot that's now in the Banshee server, and it's spreading throughout Polygon. We're also providing staking and token launches for Polygon projects. So we're finding that might be a better avenue for us to kind of like acclimate to the Polygon community, and also show people working examples of what we can accomplish as a team. So that has been like the biggest adjustment for myself personally and the marketing team, is pivoting away from going directly after the Polygon community and focusing more on Polygon projects and bringing utility to Polygon projects as a way of demonstrating to the community what we're capable of doing.
That's great. And Candyman, do you have anything to say?
No, I think Voodoo summed it up. It's exactly that. The welcome was warm. We're happy to be. We're happy we've decided to come to Polygon, and we can't wait until we have all our products running.
Yeah, me too. And what you guys are doing is, like I said, is impressive. But also, too, you're on Polygon, you're on Chronos. Is there maybe another chain you're thinking about like branching out to here shortly, or are you guys going to kind of just hang out on these two chains for a while?
So, as I explained earlier, the plan is to go to multiple chains, like to be multi-chain, for the only reason like to have our game played by the maximum amount of players available. As I explained before, like the game today is already out there, and it's only lacking players. Like when you go to multiplayer, for example, you have to wait maybe a couple minutes before finding a match, and if we have more players, that would shrink down to a couple seconds before you find a match, and that's the plan. So we're not stopping at one chain, but we're not in any hurry to do so. As I said before, there are products that we weren't able to build in Chronos that we would be building in Polygon as a lending and borrowing protocol, a perpetual exchange, and other games. So yeah, we'll be hanging around for a while, and then we will decide on the next chain.
Oh, great! Yeah, love it, love it. But now let's kind of go on to the DEX. Kind of go more into the DEX, and I also have a follow-up question for somebody that's not very familiar with DEXs and farming and liquidity pools, and I'll kind of ask you that after here. But the DEX, kind of go more into that.
Yeah, sure. Just a heads up, if I ever leave you, it's just my computer died.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
It's dying slowly, but I don't know how long it has. The DEX. So when we decided, I explained earlier, when we decided to launch the DEX, it was for us a way to fix the problems that we see in DeFi and to give the community what it deserves. So we made the first community-owned DEX, and in a simple way, which is, when you do transactions in a DEX, there is a transaction fee that you pay, and usually like some of it goes to the LP holders, so the people that have their money there, so that the liquidity, so that the transaction can happen, and the rest of it goes to the project team. And we just thought, okay, there's something wrong about this, because if I am putting on the table my own money so that transactions can go through, and you're only making the software, but you're getting paid more than me, while I'm the one taking the risk, that's not normal. So in the major difference our DEX has to the others is that we give back 100% of the swap fees to the LP holders. We keep nothing. That's for us. The DEX is not where we generate the revenue. The revenue comes from the games. So the DEX is like just for the community. Put your LP there, transact, and the transaction fees go back to the LP holders. That's it. As simple as that.
Okay. I mean, somebody that's somebody like me, right? That's kind of like new to kind of like all that staking and like farming and everything. I was so jealous of everybody in the last bull run because everybody was doing it right, and I didn't understand not a word, I didn't understand anything, right? So people that are kind of like new to anything like that, I know Voodoo said they hold spaces and everything like that. Is it pretty simple for someone like me to kind of like learn like how to do all those things? It's very user friendly.
Sure. Yeah, we try to make our DEX the simplest possible to accommodate the newcomers, especially like Voodoo said, Polygon chain needs some education in the DeFi, and we had the same thing in Chronos chain, because Chronos gets a lot of newcomers because of all the marketingcrypto.com does. So we had, for example, like in our YouTube channel, we do nothing like you do, but we have like all the tutorials for all of our products.
Okay.
Like there are at least 30 videos there explaining step by step how to do everything in our DEX. And in the DEX itself, like the parts that are complicated are made easy. Like for example, creating LP, like nobody knows what is that, and like you have to have 2 tokens and do it. It's weird. So we created what we call as a Zap feature, which you just like go from like you have Matic and you want to farm it in a Matic Candy farm. You just like take your Matic and zap it into Candy Matic LP. That's it. You don't have to have like both tokens and go to the right place. And you can do all of that from the farm page. Like it's like one-click farming. So what used to happen in 3 different steps, like trade half your Matic to Candy, then add Candy and Matic to the LP, and then stake the LP in the farm. Like 3 things are happening in just one transaction. Like you just click, and then we have a smart contract that does all of that for you. This is just an example, but these are like the kind of things we are developing to make our DEX the most user-friendly possible.
That's great. And Voodoo, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, a few things. Well, Candyman mentioned about us giving back 100% of those transaction fees, and that was one of the things that really caught my attention when I was first introduced to Candyman in this project. Was that so? Um, 1/3 of that transaction fees goes back in the form of protocol owned liquidity, and 2/3 goes out as rewards. And that foresight is what has really saved us as a project now, because it's allowed the protocol to own a significant amount of the liquidity on the DEX. And as we progressively held on to this bear market, right, it allowed the DEX to survive independently. Whereas even on the Chronos, where every day there are protocols, DEXs that are literally leaving Chronos because they did not have the foresight to invest in themselves when the opportunity was there. And now it's just very difficult to do that when liquidity is so low. So that's number one. I think having that foresight and having the experience to know that, because I've been in crypto not quite as long as Candyman, but this is going to be my third bull market as well. And you learn a little from each cycle. I'm definitely in a much better position now. Like, the majority of my income come from, because I also have a hosting company where I host websites for people. The majority of my income comes from that, but I haven't had to put money into my crypto portfolio in a long time, but it's because I'm not living off of it, right? It's not there to pay my rent and put food on the table for me. And I try to, from that experience, surround myself with people in the same situation, because I've seen what happens when it's not that way. But yeah, DeFi, it's going to take a while to educate the Polygon community on DeFi, but I promise you there is nowhere else in crypto to make more consistent gains than it is in DeFi. From my personal experience during the last run, and we're talking, this wasn't that long ago, this is like summer or fall 2021, I had not even, it was like maybe spring 2022. I had days where I was pulling from my LPs $200 to $500 a day, thinking at this rate, I'll be a millionaire by the end of the year. But my experience taught me USDC is your friend. So I always put aside 50% of my profits in a stable coin, and that's what's sustained me, because now I've accumulated a portfolio that it just keeps growing from those peanuts that I put aside during the last bull run. It's just put me in a better position for the next one. So definitely looking forward to passing on that education to the Polygon community. You should definitely join us on our Wednesday space. I think you pick up a lot there.
I definitely will. See, this is what I was talking about. I was so jealous because, because you were saying that, right, about $200, $500 a day, but there were others saying, like, man, I've made so much from yield farming and staking, liquidity pools, and I was so jealous because I was just there, like, man, I want to celebrate and have fun too. And it was just like, man, but I don't understand any of this. So, and we definitely need that kind of help, like in Polygon, because, like I said, we're very kind of NFT heavy. But this is great that we're bringing, the DeFi side of it too. And guys, when I want to ask you about this, speaking of DeFi, right? Where do you kind of see, like, what's to be like the future in DeFi? Do you think it's going to be kind of around for kind of a while, or people are saying it's not going to last? Like, Candyman, I kind of want to shoot this question to you first. Like, where do you think DeFi will be, in the next 5 years?
Well, take it from an ex-banker, DeFi is not going to stop until it took over traditional finance. Well, what we're seeing today is just like the start. Everything that we used to do in a traditional bank or using your bank card, today you can do it in DeFi. And people just love that because, like, most of the fees go back to you and you don't have to pay extra fees to some third party. The only problem is, like, for me, that's like base of blockchain and on the Bitcoin. If you read the Satoshi's white paper, this is why he created Bitcoin. So Bitcoin didn't directly do this, but DeFi is doing it. So DeFi is really killing the third party. We don't have to have anyone to transact. You just have to have some people willing to put their liquidity there. Of course, they don't do it for free. They do it because they earn transaction fees, and then others can transact almost for free, like paying nothing. Like usually it's around 0.3% or 0.03% in transaction fees. That's really completely nothing, and most of it goes to the liquidity providers themselves. And you can see now with the development of all the lending and borrowing, I think in a couple of years nobody's going to be going to banks anymore for loans. People are just going to be doing their, like today we can of course only do that by collateralization, then like using crypto, but it wouldn't surprise me if in 5 years we can do that using your car or your home. You can put it as collateral and just take a loan and like just to tokenize your home and have it available as collateral. These are things that are going to happen in the future.
Great. I kind of have the same sentiment. But Voodoo, do you have anything to add to that?
I agree with Candyman there 100%. My background, my formal education is in finance, and what I'm seeing in DeFi is the floodgates being open. Traditional financial vehicles that have only been available to a selected few because of the amount of capital they had in their self-owned wealth is now available to anyone that can create a freaking MetaMask wallet. Being able to collateralize assets, being able to participate in a money market, leveraging 100x. These things are just not available to, I mean, just in the United States, for you to open a day trading account, you need a minimum of 25K, right? Mm-hmm. I can go and day trade any token I want with a penny if I wanted to, right? So the having access to these financial vehicles, and then the next step is going to be just educating people of what these things do and how they're available. Being able to provide liquidity, basically as a money exchange. That's what a DEX is in reality. It's just a Forex money exchange. But being able to participate in that Forex money exchange and in a way that allows you to benefit from every transaction that takes place there. I mean, these are things like we just couldn't have access to because very few of us have the capital to participate in these markets. Are now being available to everyone. And you're going to see, as Candyman described, as more and more these financial vehicles are brought into DeFi, are kryptonized, for a lack of a better way of describing it, right? And it's not going to stop at tokens and currency. It's going to be your driver's license. It's going to be your home's title deed. Just last year in Florida, a home sold in Florida using an NFT. There was a transfer of ownership of a home using crypto. So it's just a matter of time. DeFi is not going anywhere. So my advice to anyone is to take the time now to educate yourself and learn as much as you can, because it's just going to become more and more a part of your world. And I see in less than 5 years, banks being non-existent. XRP's case just got settled, and like already they're making announcements about how many banks are using the XRP ledger as means of settling transactions. Because when you transfer, if I was to transfer money from my Chase account to Candyman's Switzerland account, there's about 5 or 6 different people that touch that money and take a significant percentage of the money that I'm transferring. I can do it in seconds, and it costs me cents with XRP. Right, so I think it's only going to become more embedded into our everyday lives. The key is going to be if they can do it in a way that is seamless without people realizing that blockchain's being used or cryptocurrency is being used, and that's going to be mostly up to guys like ourselves to develop a UI and provide the education. But other than that, it's just a matter of time.
100% agree. And guys, and the audience and everybody here that's going to see this, guys, definitely get yourself kind of versed in DeFi, because if I would have, had that kind of like knowledge, I think I would have been in a lot better place, coming out of this, kind of like bull run bear market. And it was a missed opportunity. But I have you guys now. You guys are here, so I'm grateful you guys came to Polygon, and you're going to be providing that education, because I'll be there. Because like I said, I'm a big meathead, and all these numbers and liquidity pools like that, I was like, man, I don't understand any of this, but I do want to. It was, like I said, I was just so jealous of everybody kind of like celebrating and all that. But kind of going into the NFT, guys, and the NFT marketplace and everything like that. What are some of like kind of like the perks of actually like holding some of the NFTs that you guys have?
I don't think.
Sorry,
Go ahead, Candy.
What?
Voodoo, can you man the rest of it? Like, my computer is gonna die, and I have to go anyways.
Okay,
No
Candyman.
problem. We have packed more utility into our NFTs. Like literally every use case that we could find, we find a way to incorporate it with our NFTs. So let's start with the Dex. So we have 5 different rank classes for our NFTs: citizens, ministers, prince, kings, and gods. And each one of these classes can be used on our Dex to boost your farms. So a god can boost your farm 5%, a king can boost your farm 4.5%, a prince will do 4, minister 3.5, and a citizen 3. You can use up to 5 of these NFTs in any combination that is available to you to boost any one of our individual farms on our Dex. You can stake your NFT to earn candy. You can use our candy NFTs to boost partnered farms, which are LP farms. I know there's a lot of jargon being thrown out here, but it's basically a way of, let's say you were to create the Jarek token and you were to pair it with Matic to encourage the community to help increase the liquidity available to your pair, which would make trading it a lot easier. You can create a partners farm, and in that partner farm you will have something set up similar to this example, where if someone like myself was to go into the Dex and pair Jarek token to Matic and contribute that LP to your farm, you in turn would give me more Jarek token, which I can take that Jarek token, pair it with more Matic, and add to the liquidity and start a cycle there of increasing my principal. Even on those farms, you can use our NFTs to boost those farms. You can also have guaranteed rewards in our marketplace. So we have Peppermint, which is our NFT marketplace. Our NFTs are the only ones that are guaranteed listing and trading rewards daily. We are also in the process of completing the game integration. So in our game, you're going to be able to do things like rent out your NFTs, because some of the higher ranked NFTs are just difficult to get your hands on. They just are not on the market. Very rarely do you find kings on the market. You can't find any gods on the market. So you'll be able to rent those out in the game. Not only that, depending on the rank of your NFT, you'll receive free attributes in game. So you'll get more time or bonus bombs or extra cookies. These are all different things in the game that helps you complete the puzzles. So yeah, we try to find as many use cases as possible for our NFTs and enjoy the challenge of creating as much utility as possible for our NFTs.
Hey, that's amazing. See, I like that, right? There's an incentive to actually like hold the actually NFT, or actually, or like even with the whole renting out. And, I love that. I love when projects that actually have something that their holders can kind of like benefit from. And the marketplace is really smooth. It's already out. I see it here and everything like that. And other projects are able to list on this marketplace too, correct?
Right now it's only on Chronos, but we're gonna expand it also to Polygon once we launch completely on Polygon. The only thing that our protocol is missing is liquidity. And we do have our Polygon NFT mint going on. on both through Comet and also through our website. And we also have our IDO for our candy token going on our
Ooh.
DEX on Polygon, so you can contribute Matic to receive candy right now on Polygon. Ultimately, our goal here is to raise between $50,000 to $60,000. That's what it's going to take for us to fully deploy our DEX on Polygon. 100% of the liquidity that we raise for both the NFT and the token ICO is going towards the DEX. So once we get that going, I think it starts generating transactions, because then you'll see all kinds of things. You'll be able to buy Bitcoin, ETH, Matic, whatever, everything through our DEX. But part of that process is being able to incentivize people to bring liquidity to the DEX, and we do that by giving them candy rewards. So when you create your Bitcoin ETH pair that allows people to trade both Bitcoin and ETH on the DEX, we reward you in candy. And then you can do whatever you want with that candy. Now you can bring the candy into the game to play our Candy Crush clone multiplayer or adventure mode. You can buy NFTs with it through our marketplace. You can recycle it or reinvest it into the DEX itself and create a new pair to start getting more candy, or you can cash it out. But that's all going to be possible once we establish our 50 to 60K in liquidity. And we're not just depending on our NFT and our token raise to accomplish that. We understand that the Polygon community may not really understand what we're offering and its value. So all of these other utilities and products that we're bringing to other projects, so the token that we're getting ready to launch, our DEX charges a 10% fee for token launches. That's going to go towards that. We're in a process of talking with another project to build them a DEX. The profits that we make from that, that's also going to go towards that. We've also built this Discord bot that helps with engagement. The profits that we make from that also goes towards that. So we're not just waiting on the Polygon community to understand and recognize what we're providing and its value. We're going, we're creating as many different streams to accomplish our goals as possible.
Guys, this is insane. Like, you guys are offering a whole bunch of stuff, and I kind of want to, tell it to kind of like my audience is that if you guys, when you guys watch this, by the time this comes out, please, for the love of God, like, you can be so ahead of everybody if you can kind of learn like what DeFi is and the power of DeFi with, like I said, yield farming, liquidity pools, everything like that. Hook up with Board Candy City, and I'm just telling you, it is a cheat code pretty much. From the last bull run that I experienced, if you're new to crypto, definitely learn DeFi, because you'll be kind of ahead of the game. And Voodoo, you guys have so many things going on. This is amazing. But where do you kind of like want to be a year from now?
I mean, like you mentioned, like DeFi, I think is the future of crypto. If an NFT investment is your lottery ticket, DeFi is your salary. It's consistent and it's slow growth, but it will get you there in the long run, in a much better, in a much more sustainable process. A year from now, I see us with a ton of games out, using our token. People don't realize the amount of work and effort and energy it took to accomplish what we've been able to do in less than a year. The DEX went live November 1st of last year. Our game was live, the first iteration of it, within a month. And it took us about 3 months from the launch of the DEX to finally convince Apple, with the help of the local Switzerland regulators, to accept our token in the App Store. We're the very first game to ever do that. And so once that was accomplished, we then had to then figure out how to safely move the token between the blockchain and the mobile app. And that was only finally accomplished about 2 months ago with the assistance of Altura, a great team who has a lot of experience in exactly that. So a year from now, I see us very focused on our gaming part of our business, maybe with about 50 games out, all using Candy. And we're not just building games for ourselves. We have one of the games that Candyman mentioned earlier is another project that is creating their own top-down shooter game, but it also uses Candy. And that's to just be a proof of concept to the community that if you want to build a mobile game that is a truly a Web3 mobile game, and you're willing to allow your users to use Candy, we can help you get through that process. And here's an example of another project doing that, using our token. So we plan to try and capitalize on our hard work as much as possible and provide another utility to another project in the process.
That's amazing. See, everyone here listening, they've already done all the hard work. They've gone through like regulations and gone and fought Apple, and I think you guys, are gonna do really, really well. It's kind of like, now I would say, because you guys have been out there, kind of grinding, and I've seen you guys everywhere, man. But everybody needs to kind of pay more attention to what you guys are doing, man, because you guys have got everything seem to be like, like figured out, man. You got all this huge plan, and again, the mint's still going on comment, and the ICO is still going on too as well, correct?
That's correct. I mean, we have a very experienced team. Most of our team members, and no offense to the younger generation, but most of our team members are 30 and up and have been through at least one cycle. We have a very strong on-staff development team, as Candyman mentioned before, and we have a very strong staff. Even our marketing team, which is now Crypto Cafe. So that's myself, Thespis, Drifty, Frenchie, Doc, D-Engineer, Diganja Baba. Within that group, you have my finance major, Doc is a math PhD, Bus is a MIT graduate. Not that we know everything, or not that to even say that we know what we're doing, but we have a very good idea of when it comes to numbers and managing teams. There's a lot of experience there. So we've been very confident in just keeping our heads down and keep building, irregardless of how the market responds to our offering. I think in the long run, we just have to keep doing what we're doing, and the market will catch up. The market will at some point realize that we're serious about building. We're serious about, completing the tasks that we have in front of us. And we've been very consistent in that process, and we'll let our reputation and our history speak for itself.
That's great. And guys, I'm going to post all their socials down here. Please follow them. Catch them on Spaces too as well. They're everywhere. Voodoo's everywhere. I see him everywhere. He's a great guy. And Voodoo, before you go, is there any kind of anything else you want to say, or any community members you want to shout out, or anybody you want to shout out before you leave?
Well, special shout out to, Matic Man, Parrot Funk, and the guys at Comet. That team has been exceptional, both in their customer service and their tech. One of the from the very beginning, like I said, we have our team of our own developers, and we developed the contract specifically for our mint, but with their help was able to integrate it into their front end. It took a lot of hands-on customization between the two teams, but I mean, I've never seen two group of people that have never met each other before work so smoothly. It was a great process. Special shout out to the guys from the show formerly known as GM Polygon, with Johnny and Bill and David 10X. Great team of individuals, really representing really is a great representation of the Polygon community. And then of course, shout out to our team, Crypto Cafe with D-Engineer, Diganja Baba, Doc, Drifty, Frenchie, Vespis. These guys have been like brothers to me for like last year. And we've had a blast. Every Saturday we have our show, and it all started with us as just a group of like-minded individuals that really liked researching and understanding crypto projects and NFT related projects. And of course, we could not be here without the support of the Board Candy community. I'm just going to name a few people that come to mind: Scardo, Hercules, Craziest Guy, Drado. I mean, these guys have been consistently supporting our vision, and without really knowing much about us from the very beginning, these guys just really truly believed that we could produce what we said we were going to do, and it makes me proud every day to be able to do just that. To just complete one task at a time and keep pushing forward and keep building forward. So could not be here without the support of the Board Candy community.
That's amazing. And Voodoo, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you, Candyman, too, for giving y'all his time. I really appreciate y'all.
I really appreciate your time as well, Jarek, and looking forward to our next meet.
Me too, and I'm actually going to be hopping on some of y'all's spaces because I want to learn this DeFi. And everybody else, please, learn DeFi, learn everything you possibly can before the next bull run. But guys, if you like content like this, please like, comment, share, subscribe, download. Follow me on X at Hey It's Jarek. Of course, follow Board Candy City. I'll have all this stuff pinned down at the bottom. And I'll see you guys around the blockchain. Take care.